All right, there we go. So, introducing Dr. Stephen Thain. So, graduated from Western States Chiropractic University in 1986. He's ran his own chiropractic practice in Bellevue, Washington, for the past 38 years. He wrote a book, What Your Body is Trying to Tell You, If Only You Listen. He has been interviewed on both national and numerous local radio programs, as well as local TV programs regarding many health topics. And then I have there at the bottom, many see him as the best chiropractor in the Pacific Northwest, including the one creating these slides right here, which is myself. So, reading through this little bio of Dr. Stephen Thain. His wife is a licensed midwife and certified professional midwife. Together, they established a practice in Bellevue, Washington. She is a nationally CABC accredited birth center adjoining his chiropractic office. Dr. Thain has had the unique opportunity to adjust women in labor in between contractions and right after delivery. His youngest patient was 40 minutes old. His oldest was 97 and a half years old. He has continued his postgraduate training by receiving a certification from 3 different universities on non-surgical spinal decompression. He's also received a master's certificate in non-surgical spinal decompression from the International Medical Advisory Board for spinal decompression. In 2019, he was honored to be appointed to the International Medical Advisory Board for spinal decompression. He's been requested by the board to teach at the postgraduate training program at 2 different universities. And he has been interviewed on both national and numerous local radio programs, as well as local TV programs regarding many health topics. He's a strong believer in the tenets taught by Hippocrates, one being the role of a physician is that of a teacher, and he's continually striving to inspire and educate his patients. Second, the main tenet of above all, doctor, do no harm is important to Dr. Thain. This belief fuels his fervent endeavor to spread the philosophy of natural health care. He believes our current healthcare system is broken. In his opinion, it is not healthcare, but rather disease care motivated by profit. It is his contention that true health and healing come from above down and inside out, not from a profit-motivated, patented shot, pill, potion, or powder. Dr. Thain feels there is a place for drugs and surgery, but as a last resort, not as a main principle that is motivated by profit. His infectious energy and passion are palpable, and it is one of the reasons people have traveled many miles from other states and even other countries to see him. So I'm really, really excited for you guys to be able to have the opportunity to hear him speaking with you tonight. And so I'm going to spotlight you really quickly here. And I'll also give you co-host ability so you can share your screen and you are good to go.
Okay, here, let me make sure I can do this. Okay, is that working?
Hold on here. Yes, we can see it.
Okay, your greatest asset. We first start off by sharing a little bit of what my goal is tonight, is to move you, to inspire you, to educate you, and also hopefully to entertain you. So I start off with, what is your greatest asset? What is important? What is most important to you in your life? I'm also going to go over what's defining health, some statistics on health. I'm going to give you some keys to health. Where does health actually come from? We're going to learn about talking about or taking your first step towards those endeavors. Everybody's got hopefully pen and paper, and I want you to write down, what are the 2 most important things in your life? Some people, it's money. For some people, it's fame and recognition. For others, it's their car. Some people, it's graduating college. Maybe that's your main goal right now, or the training that you're doing. Family maybe is a top important value to you. Activities or hobbies. Write down 2 of them right now. What are the 2 things? Let me ask a question. Is anybody here putting down health? Did anybody write down health? If you didn't, I'm going to ask you to reassess your value system. Because one of the most important things to you, if it should be, in my opinion, in your top 2, at least in your top 3. But let me kind of give you a little bit of a perspective on this. For example, family. Family is really important. If your family is a top value for you, how can you be a support to your family? How can you do the best, be the most supportive person for your family if your health is failing you? If one of your hobbies is skiing, how can you go out and ski and enjoy skiing if your health is failing? If money is important to you, well, what good is money if you don't have your health and you can't enjoy some of the things that money can afford you? When you really sit down and think about it, health should be in one of your top, if not the top priority or important value in your life. And you should be taking values to maximize that asset. Uh, there's a gentleman here I'm showing down here. His name's Herophilus. He was a ancient Greek physician. He said, when health is absent, nothing else really matters. I added a little phrase before that. It says, when health is present, anything is possible. But when health is absent, nothing else really matters. And it is so true. Anybody here ever heard of Steve Jobs or Paul Allen? They're very wealthy, very famous individuals. Jobs, of course, Apple, and Paul Allen was part of Microsoft when the co-founder. You know, they had literally billions of dollars. They could buy anything they wanted, and I will tell you, they would have given every penny of it away to be able to continue on in their life. They both died at an early age because their health failed, and not any amount of money could buy it back. So understand that this is literally the most valuable asset that you have. The Roman poet Virgil once stated, the greatest wealth is that of health. So, what is health? By definition, health is a state of optimal mental, physical, and social well being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. Now, I want to tell you the key phrase in that is the absence of disease or infirmity. See, health, many people think, oh, I feel fine. Yeah, you may feel fine, but that doesn't mean you're healthy. If anybody here has ever known somebody who's had a heart attack, I will tell you that usually the day before their heart attack, they felt completely fine. Matter of fact, many of them have gone to a health screening, even a cardiac screening, a week or two before that, and still had the heart attack. How did that happen? If they felt fine the day before, I'll tell you, they didn't just have the heart attack in one day. There's something led up to that. By the way, do you know what the most common result of a heart attack is? It's death. So ergo, for most people, the first sign that they have heart disease is a heart attack, and the result of most heart attacks is death. If you're waiting for a sign or symptom to tell you got a problem, you're waiting too long. Health is optimal function, optimal well-being. Let me give you a little bit of information on some of the statistics in regards to health in our country. We are now 64th in the world. Now, this is not the most prestigious number. We're 64th now in longevity. That means there's 63 other countries where people live longer than we do in our country. That is not our proudest moment. Now, the question I have to ask is, how in the heck is this possible? We spend more money per capita than any other country on earth on healthcare. We have more doctors per capita than any other country on the earth. And we have the most sophisticated, most technologically advanced health facilities on the planet, and yet we're 64th in longevity. By the way, in 1960, guess where we were? We were number 3. Number 3, we've gone from 3 to 64. Take a look at this chart I just put up. Back in 1960, we were spending $27.1 billion on healthcare. We're now spending $4,144 billion. And by the way, this chart's a few years old. You can add some billions to that one. It's $12,500 per person. Back in 1960, it was $150 a person. Now, some people will say, well, yeah, well, the dollar now is not worth as much as it was in 1960, and that's true. I did the statistics on that. Back in 1960, $1 today is about 9.9. So you can take that $150 times it by 10. We should be about $1,500 per person. We are now spending $12,500 per person. And how is that doing in regards to our health? Well, take a look at how much money we're spending on drugs. Oh my goodness. Back in the 60s, it wasn't hardly any. Now take a look at how much money we're spending on prescription drugs. We are filling people full of drugs, and it's not working. We're not living as long. We're living less length, and we are more unhealthy. We've gone from number 3 to number 64. By the way, I made a little note there. In 1987, there was an interesting bill that was passed that removed pharmaceutical manufacturers away from their liability with regards to the causes of problems they were having. When they did that, all of a sudden we started introducing a lot more drugs and a lot more shots into people's bodies. And look what's happened to our health. Our healthcare system it's not a healthcare system, it's a disease care system. It's not what's best for your health, it's what's best for the pharmaceutical industry and the bottom line profit for them. That's what it's about. Our lobbyists in Washington D.C., uh, it's about owning Washington D.C. for profit, not health. We have more pharmaceutical lobbyists than we currently do have congressional members. They spend over twice that of oil and gas in lobbyists in D.C. So I'm letting you know this because I want you to know that when you take a look at some of the information that's put out there, it's not about what's best for you or your health. It's about what's best to make money for companies. If you haven't heard, we have a big problem with opioid drugs. We lose 70,000 people a year due to opioid complications. Now, but a real common thing I want to talk about just for a moment is that most people, when they're in pain or hurting, they turn to over-the-counter medications. You go and buy things like aspirin or Advil or Aleve or some form of ibuprofen. If you haven't ever heard of the term PUBS, P-U-B-S, it stands for perforation, ulceration, and bleeding. We have over 100,000 people that are put in the hospital each year because of taking ibuprofen, aspirin, Aleve, and the non-steroidal anti-inflammatories. Here's a couple things I want you to be aware about this, though. You have 2.5 times greater chance of having perforation, ulceration, and bleeding in your digestive system if you're taking low-dose aspirin. You have a 3 times greater chance if you're taking ibuprofen. But if you mix it with alcohol, you have a 10 times greater probability of suffering digestive situations. By the way, if you notice that one block says chronic non-steroidal anti-inflammatory use, so that's aspirin, ibuprofen, showed serious damage to small intestines in 70% of the people if you're taking it more than 90 days. So these are not things to be taken lightly. Now, don't get me wrong. They work great every once in a while, a little bit here and there, not a problem. If you can't sleep and you got to take something to help calm things down, totally fine. But understand, you don't want to start relying on it. You don't want to start taking it all the time. One other side note, you combine those things with antidepressants, you have a 12 times greater chance of perforation, ulceration, and bleeding. So I encourage you, don't turn to even the over-counter meds to try and get your health. You need to find some more natural answers. Surgery should be a last resort, and you will not get healthy from a shot, pill, or potion. By the way, these things can be acute life-threatening. Don't get me wrong. If you are in acute trauma and you have some major accident, say you're in a bad car accident, fall out of a tree, really hurt yourself, you live on the greatest country on the planet. We have the most modern and technological advances to help you through acute traumas. But when it comes to health, we are not making the best decisions. A guy named B.J. Palmer, he's a chiropractor from many years ago, he once said, have you more faith in a knife or a spoonful of medicine than the power that animates the living world? I want you to think about this for a moment. The sperm met the egg, and those 2 cells became 1. Then they split to 2, into 4, into 8, into 16, to 32, to 64, 128, so on and so forth, till literally 37.2 trillion cells were formed. Your body is a living miracle. And when he says, do you ever have any more faith in a knife or a spoonful of medicine? I want you to understand that you're a walking miracle. You are 37.2 trillion cells working and coordinating together, creating life, health, and vitality. What we need to do is support that inner healing ability. And that's not going to happen through drugs and surgery. By the way, we're about 4% of the world's population. We consume about 70% of the world's drugs. We are the most vaccinated population in history. And as a side note, by the age of 18, they're now recommending you get about 90 shots. And I go back to that sperm meeting the egg and this miracle creating. Do you really think our creator made us so inept that we need 90 shots to be healthy by the age of 18? I don't think so. We perform more surgeries than any other country. With spinal surgery, we do 5 times in that in the United Kingdom. And yet 50+% of them fail. We are now 64th in longevity. Our children back in 1960, we only had 6% who had chronic degenerative disease. We now have 60% that have chronic degenerative diseases. We're heading in the wrong direction. Well, how do we create health? Well, health comes from above down and inside out. We need to start making decisions that support our natural body's ability to heal. First thing I want to talk to you about is breathing. And if you're keeping notes, this is what you want to write down at the top of your page. Breathing. By the way, if I take food away from you, you'll last for a couple of weeks, maybe a month even. If I take water away from you, you'll last for a few days, maybe a week. But if I take air away from you, you'll only last for a few minutes. When we take a look at prioritizing, air and breathing is more important than water, it's more important than food. As a matter of fact, there's a thing called VO2, a maximum oxygen uptake. That is one of the most important factors in determining your longevity and your health capabilities in the future. So breathing is an important thing. I'm going to share with you real quickly something called a power breath. You breathe in for the count of 1, you hold for the count of 4, you blow out for the count of 2. This little exercise, and by the way, you can do multiples of that. You can go 2, 8, 4, 3, 12, 6. Just remember 1, 4, 2. Breathe in 1, hold 4, blow out 2. If you can do 10 repetitions of this, if you do this 3 times a day, you'll maximize oxygen uptake into the body. You'll actually pump your lymphatic system, which stimulates your immune system and actually to be healthier. If you're ever starting to feel sick, if you're starting to feel run down, if you're not feeling too good, start doing 10 power breaths 3 or 4 times a day. And I'll tell you, you'll pump your immune system, you'll stimulate your oxygenation, you'll give your immune system a little bit of a boost. So power breath, start adding that into your routine. Number 2, water. Now, by the way, I'm going to go over some things you have all heard. This is not anything you haven't heard before. You're going to go, my gosh, you didn't tell me anything new. I'm going to tell you, health is actually a very simple thing. The principles are true. They've been true for thousands of years. They haven't changed. Breathing. Number 2, water. You should be drinking half your body ounces or half your body weight in ounces a day. If you weigh 150, that's 75 ounces. If you weigh 200, that's 100 ounces. So whatever you weigh in pounds, cut that in half. That's how much water you want to be getting in a day. Water is really important. You know, over 75% of our body weight is water. Over 99% of our cells have water. Water is a critical component to every metabolic, functional, a chemical interaction that happens in our body, and it is a key for helping us stay healthy. So make sure you're consuming a lot of water. And if you're really intrigued and really want to take your health to the next level, talk to my son about Kangen water. He has a unit in his house. It's amazing. If you haven't heard about it, you've probably seen it. It's viral on the internet now. They're talking about hydrogen water. And Kangen water is one of the top producers of the qualities of hydrogen type water. Another key thing, balanced diet. So breathing, water, and diet. Eating a well-balanced diet, lots of fruits, vegetables, whole grains. We want to help promote a healthy gut environment. You're hearing the term now called microbiome. These are the things to help support that. Those are a key thing. Another thing, be active. Get out there and be doing something. You know, today's society, there's a lot of computer time. People are not physically active like they used to be. So try and make 30 minutes most of the days a week. Get out there doing something active, moving around, especially if you have a sitting type job or if you're spending a lot of time in school studying. Sleep, real critical component. Sleep helps boost your immune system. It improves your memory, helps you have a healthier heart. That helps reduce the effects of stress. You have better metabolism, and it helps maintain a healthy weight. You got to get enough sleep. It's essential. I'm always asked, what's the opportune time frame for sleeping? They say somewhere between 6 to 8 hours. Some people can run on less than that, but you want to be trying to get it to at least 6 hours. And if you can be consistent in your sleep patterns, that's really helpful. What I mean by consistent is, you know, don't go to bed at 3 o'clock, you know, and then all of a sudden go back to bed at 10 and go back to 3 and try and be consistent. Your body likes consistency. You'll get better sleep patterns if you do that. Now, let me touch base on this. Moderation is always a key for your health. If you like to drink alcohol or coffee, do so when I say responsibly. I define moderation as 1 or 2 days a week. It should just be 1 or 2 cups on that day. So especially like coffee. Coffee is a major irritant to not only the digestive system, it also causes a lot of inflammation in the body. So I don't recommend that you're consuming a lot of coffee. Again, if you do 1 or 2 cups, 1 or 2 days a week, don't drink a pot every day. Also, alcohol. You see that big, huge jug I got here? I'm going to show you what I think you should drink. There you go. That's the size of the cup you should drink. Only do that 1 or 2 days a week. So we want to keep those things in moderation. Moderation is the key. Next thing, mental well-being. One of my favorite people is this guy you see here. His name's Dr. John Demartini. He relays that we should always be focusing on being in a state of constant learning. You know, I heard just a little bit of what Ryan was going over with you guys. Fantastic stuff. You're all in a state of growing. You're all in a state of learning. If you are in a state of learning, you are in as he always says, when you're green, you're growing. When you're ripe, you're rot. It is so true. We always want to continue to learn. So many studies have been done that have shown that people, as they get older, if they continue to stimulate their brain, they continue to push themselves to grow, then they will continue in a better, healthy state. When you stop learning, you start dying. So continue to focus on learning and developing yourself and pushing yourself. Personal self-talk is so important. What you say to yourself. There's a great book called What You Say to Yourself. What you say to yourself when you're not listening. So it's really important to be positive when you're having that self-talk. What are you saying? Don't beat yourself up. Make sure you're keeping yourself in a positive outcome. Even the most challenging things of your life, and one of my son's favorite people is a guy named Tom Brady. He always talks about, your greatest growth happened from your biggest challenges. When you are challenged, that's when you personally grow, and you got to believe in yourself. Remember, when you're green, you're growing. When you're ripe, you're rot. One of the things I love about Cutco, it's going to challenge you to grow. So take on the challenge. On this slide on the right, it talks about motivation, vision, planning, learning, training, creativity, development, and goals. That's some cool stuff. That's all stuff I know that Ryan talks about. I heard some of this stuff tonight. Fantastic stuff. One of the things I got to say about this, and seeing my son be exposed to this, it is so cool because this is not just a job where you're just punching a clock. I mean, Ryan's worked for Starbucks. I've done a lot of things where I worked on truck docks and did all sorts of different types of jobs, dishwasher and painter and all sorts of things. But you know what? I never had anybody teaching me a lot of the stuff you guys have been taught tonight. So hopefully you'll grab passion on with some of this stuff and add it into your life. The information I provide is just fuel for the fire of health. What I'd like you to do right now is pick one thing. Breathing. Maybe it's the water. Maybe it's the 30 minutes exercise multiple times a week. I want you to write one thing down. I'd like you to commit it because I've gone over some stuff. You've probably heard some basic stuff. If you just hear it and you don't take action, you've kind of wasted your time tonight. I really want to push you. Pick one of them. Write it down right now. Is it going to be the water? I'm going to commit to drink half my body weight in ounces, like Dr. Thain said. I want you to pick one, make that commitment, take action tonight. Let me end with this. Love is a gift. You give love, and that's where the joy is. No matter what you're doing, no matter what you choose to do. Right now, if you're going to enter into this Cutco thing, make sure you focus on giving, loving, serving, and inspiring. If you give, if you love, if you serve, and you inspire people, you are making a difference. And when you make a difference, you are serving a purpose. I will tell you the greatest thing, and I don't care what it is you choose to do, whether it's shining shoes, whether it's being a nurse, whether it's being an architect, whether it's sales in Cutco, whatever you're doing, if you give your heart into it, if you are passionate about it, if you have a purpose to literally give, love, serve, and inspire people, then you will make a difference. And when you make a difference, you are fulfilling a purpose. And when you have purpose, then you are making a difference in the world. One of my mentors, Dr. Danny Drubin, said, if you are on fire, people will come to watch you burn. And that's an important element. I want everybody to hopefully apply yourself, make a big difference. Take this Cutco experience, grow from it, inspire those you come in contact with. Hopefully you'll set new goals, some new visions, and learn some great things from it. And by the way, you got a phenomenal coach. He's a passionate person. You probably felt that energy in him. He is there to help. Hopefully you can lean on him and gain whatever knowledge and experience you can from him. And our goal tonight was to have you hopefully reprioritize health as being one of your top two components. Hopefully understand a little bit better what health is and what it means. Share with some statistics about health and hopefully giving you a perspective. The health comes from above, down, and inside out. Doesn't come from a pill, a shot, a potion, or a powder. So start taking steps and actions in the things that we talked about, whether that's deep breathing, whether that's drinking more water, whether it's eating more fruits and vegetables, whether it's focusing on continue to personally develop yourself. Take some action steps and make those things happen. And our goal was to move you, to inspire you, to educate you, and hopefully to entertain you. And hopefully I did that tonight in this quick, short little snippet here. Thank you very much for having me, and you guys have a great rest of your night.
Oh, it's awesome. I loved it. I appreciate you, Dad. Awesome. So, and that is going to be a golden recording. I cannot wait to share that with the LA Showtime division. So, thank you, Dr. Stephen Thain.